Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 25th of February, 2025. And I'm here to announce crypto is finished. Here I am at the grave of crypto. It had a good run. It lasted a good few years, but it's over. The party is finished. The age of the degens has now gone. And in its place comes the age of men. What am I going on about? Today, I'm going to tell you. We're going to go through plenty today. Most of it I have bookmarked from before the dump. So we're going to spend a lot of time looking at charts. Not too much, I hope. And I'm going to try and tell you where we are going to. Now, remember, I did this yesterday. The majority of the headlines of this stream today are crypto, how low can it go, or how low can Bitcoin go, or whatever I've used on wherever you are. And that's what we're going to look at today. We have been calling for a low on Solana. We have been talking a lot about Ethereum, and the first article I pulled out was an $84,000 target for Bitcoin. Again, we carry a lot of articles about Bitcoin going to 250, 200,000, whatever it might be, making sure the volume is on. Yes, it is. And now we're going to look at the other end. Where can we go? But before we begin, something I need to say to you is, I put a tweet out this morning and basically said, we are a boring channel. We are very, very boring. And we focus on what we think are realistic targets. We focus on words that you don't hear from other people: revenue and profit. Which cryptocurrencies make revenue and which ones make a profit on top of that? We talk about roadmaps. We talk about tokenomics. We talk about things that these so-called celebrity crypto influencers don't even consider. Okay, I've watched a couple of them this morning. Most of them are crying into their gold chains. Most of them are crying all over their 24-karat gold rings, and a lot of them look very upset, so much so they've taken out their gold teeth. What am I talking about again? Lots of people are telling you to buy things which have no foundation. They're built on sand, whether it be their meme coins, whether it be projects which are 12, $10 million market caps, whatever it might be. And the issue is that we are boring. And I will admit that. We talk about Chainlink. We talk about Solana. We talk about Ethereum. We talk about some of the layer twos. We talk about projects we think make money and therefore will exist in the future when VC money runs out. If you have been following us for any period of the last 2 years, and your portfolio is Bitcoin heavy, as ours are, we've shown you what our portfolio is, then you should not be upset with what's just happened. It's a pain in the arse. I know it's a pain, an absolute pain to see Bitcoin break below 90,000. But if you're holding Bitcoin, what are you down? 6, 7% today? What about some of your Doge, Elon, Musk coins? What are they down? 25, 35%? Now's not the time to be holding those coins. Now was never the time to hold those coins. You hold them in very small amounts so they don't affect your portfolio. So be careful. That's the message of today. Bitcoin is coming in at $88,500. I saw a lot of tweets last night. We're not going to break below 89. We're not going to break 90. We're not going to break 91. And of course, this all happens when I have an early night. I think I was asleep by about 10:30 last night. So I've missed all of this fun and games. Very similar to how I missed the Libra fun and games. I didn't see it. I woke up and we were at, I think, 90,000 about 7:30 this morning. And then we broke all the way down and we kept on going. But we are at very, very, very critical support. And we're going to look at Bitcoin in a minute. Ethereum, $2,400 is actually not that bad considering what's just happened. XRP, $2.14, not too bad considering what we've had. BNB over $600. Solana, 135. Remember, I can't remember if our target is 130 or 132 for Solana. We do have some lines beneath that. We might have a look at Solana in a bit. Again, some of these coins are probably down 30% plus. Let's have a look. We're not even going to bother looking at gainers today. There's no point. What are we down? What's the biggest loser today? Radium at $2.40. I said yesterday at $3, Radium was a good buy. Sorry, just give me a second. My screen is flickering. There we go. Radium at $2.40. It's a good buy. I don't care what's happening in the market right now. That's a good price. Sui at $2.70. Good price. Aave, good price. Hyperliquid, good price. Further down, Pive at 20 cents, good price. These are really good prices to be getting your coins at. 92 cents on Ondo. All I would say is, maybe don't buy them right now. Remember what happens is if we dump in the middle of the night, then in about 4 hours time, maybe even 3 hours time, the Americans will wake up from their slumber, tuck into the cold Big Mac that they've got on the side of the bed, drink their carbonated sugar, get out of bed, lift the glasses up to see what's going on, and sell. We could come a lot further down this afternoon than where we are. So if you are going to look to get into some of these coins, look maybe in 3 or 4 hours. I do think there's a lot of really good projects down here that do make profit and do have revenue underneath them. As I've said, a lot of these coins down here, they're not the meme coins. They're solid projects. Don't buy WorldCoin. Never buy WorldCoin. WorldCoin's going to zero as close as. ASI, Kronos got an absolute hammering. Solana is down there, 14% down. The Graph is a good project. Algorand is a good project. All of this has happened. And one thing I haven't included is the fact that Cardano has had an ETF application going. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I better say good morning to the people who are here. And remember, if you are here, you are the chosen ones. Okay? You are the chosen ones. Good morning to Mags, to Kishan. KB is here. Hidden Agendas, I think I saw. Or was it Velvet Rope? Good morning to you. I hope you are all well. Remember, this is not the time to be scared. The bull run isn't over. The bull run is not over. We don't have to worry that this is the end of it. It's not. You can call it manipulation. You can call it a shakeout. Remember when we came down to 49,000 last year? Everybody said it was the end. Everybody said at 49,000. They came on here. They were calling me names. They were being mean to me. They were picking on me. Okay? And look what happened. We went from 49 to 74,000. Not saying that's going to happen tomorrow, but this sums up where we are. When you feel like crying, that's the bottom. Max pain, other people call it. I think just resignation is probably the closest I'll ever get to something like this. And again, the tweet that I posted out, and I commented in Telegram this morning, this time last year, Bitcoin was at $52,000. In November last year, we just about broke 89,000. So we have retraced 3 whole months. 3 whole months we've retraced. We've not wiped out 4 years or 10 years of growth. We've wiped out 3 months. And we've come back down to somewhere which we're going to go on to in a minute. Down so bad, I'm starting seeing my neighbours as human beings with hopes and dreams rather than sidelined peasant wage cooks. It made me smile. Listen, it made me smile. It's a little bit like the old thing when the Wi-Fi goes off in the house and you go downstairs and you find your family and they're actually really nice people. It's a little bit like that. But don't worry. I'm not worried. I've seen a lot of people streaming this morning who are worried, really worried. And I don't take pleasure at their worry. But again, I think they're getting caught up in the emotion of it all. And now is not a good time to be emotional. Emotion should happen when we break 150. If we get to 200,000, which I don't think, but if we break 200,000, that's the time to celebrate, okay? Because we've hit major milestones. But on the way down, we go up as fast as we come down. We've said this before on here. Now, we have got some pre-market collapse tweets, so bear with them. These are the top overall coins by GitHub commits. How much development is going on the bigger chains. And we do have the regular suspects in here, the boring ones that I always tell you about, the chain links, the OPs, the Cardanos, the Hederas, the Ethereums. We're not going to mention Polkadot on here. There's a few nice surprises in there. Eigenlayer is a big restaking, Ethereum restaking platform. We've got ICP at the top there, which I know it's like Marmite ICP. A lot of people don't like it. I happen to like it. One day, maybe at 150,000, I will get rid of this cough. So what does this mean in simple terms? These are the projects that are developing as, well, more than anybody else. That's what they are. It doesn't mean they're going to be successful, but they've got the most active development going on, which means potentially something big is coming soon. Now then, a source within the SEC has said the agency is very, very interested in staking, even asking industry for a memo detailing the different types of staking and their benefits. Again, what is the SEC's job? It is to protect investors. Now, stopping investors from being able to stake through their ETFs doesn't help them. In fact, it hurts them because they lose out on that emission, whether it be 3% with Ethereum, whether it be 6% with Solana, it hurts them. So it's not in the SEC's best interest to ignore staking. That's what it's about. Now then, big day yesterday for ETF applications. Remember, I just told you about the Cardano one. The HBAR one has gone to the stage of the 19B4. This comes on the heels of them amending the S1 last week. Again, in America, they have lots of forms. None of them seem to be related in terms of sequential. It doesn't go S1, S2, S3. It seems to go S1 to 19B. Again, who knows? Who cares? But it's just another step on the way through the process that these projects have got to go through. And again, I said before, I think we're going to see, in order, Litecoin, XRP, maybe on the same day as Solana, and then I see HBAR. I see those certainly being approved. Some people are talking about a Doge. Cardano is obviously popped up. But remember, the filings, the applications coming 1, 2, 3 months after the XRP and Solana applications just means they're 1 or 2 or 3 months behind. So you've got to look at when it was submitted against how long we think we're going to get them. And I think it's going to be October. Another rollback by the SEC. They have dropped their investigation into Robinhood. Now, why did they do that? They accused Robinhood of allowing the trade of securities on their platform by allowing, I think it was Cardano, Solana, and about 4 or 5 different other coins. It's all dropped because they're not securities. Some of them are, some of them are not. There is a lot of confluence for that level. 72,000 is too long, bro. It really hurts. I tell you what, 72 is one of my targets. Good morning, Shiva. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and don't panic. It's not the end of the world, okay? I saw Gary somebody who is this Cockney lad. He grew up in London and he's talking about how if he was going to do a scam and he'd launch a coin, I'd call it Bitcoin, and I would do this with it, and then I'd get more money, and then I'd spend money on advertising, and then I'd get the American government to advertise it. I've never heard anyone speak so much BS in all my life. And I have watched a lot of his videos. And much as I like the concept of what he's talking about, which means in terms of the wealth disparity, and I completely agree with it, he's made all of his money through greed, the same way all of them have. So for him to make all of his money through greed and then turn around and say it's a bad thing, is hypocritical. And he's come out and done a very good video about why Bitcoin is a scam. It's the biggest scam in the world. Clearly, it's not a scam. What he's talking about is meme coins. What he's talking about is pump and dumps. But he's aiming it at Bitcoin, and he's wrong. And if you believe anything he says in that video, and I don't want to sound cultish on this, if you believe him in that video, you shouldn't be buying into crypto, because if there is only one true cryptocurrency, it is Bitcoin. If there was a prize for predicting which one cryptocurrency will exist in 2030, that would go to Bitcoin, okay? So for him to go straight after Bitcoin, I think is shows a lack of insight into understanding it. And again, it's a little bit like these conspiracy theorists. They can talk in a certain way and it makes it sound convincing to you. But the fundamentals of what he's talking about are flawed. These people, again, at the other end of the scale, have no knowledge whatsoever about what they're talking about and will use the words massive, huge, great, amazing, unlimited, okay? Because they, again, don't understand the fundamentals, but they're on the bullish side of crypto. So Gary is on the negative side without what I think is a foundation, and the people like Donald Trump Jr. is on the bullish side, again, without foundation. He is going to pump crypto. Think of this. He is proxy Donald. That's what he is, okay? Donald can't go around saying Bitcoin every 5 minutes because he's the president of America, so he gets his family to do it. And Trump Jr. will speak at the DeFi World 2025 conference on February the 26th, which I believe is tomorrow in Denver, discussing blockchain and DeFi. And again, listen, when it gets to government level, when it gets to the level of government, it's over, okay? And it's not over, it's going to zero. It's over because you've given your toys to the big boys, okay? The internet wasn't owned by the big boys back in the day. It was owned by the degens, the early adopters, the people who were interested in the tech, interested in using it for the common good. And then the big boys came in and then they threw all of their products on there and then they used it to make themselves $1 trillion. What do you think is going to happen with crypto? Had all of this negativity happened 8 or 9 years ago, then there was a greater chance it was going to go down. But we've gone past the stage. We've crossed the Rubicon, okay? It's too late to turn back now. We're talking about a $3 trillion asset class. We are not talking about a 30 million or a $30 billion asset class. It's not too big to fail as an individual cryptocurrency, but it's too big to fail as an asset class, in my opinion, because blockchain as a solution is something that's going to be adopted. It's like the internet. The internet was never going to fail. It was always going to get adopted. But some of the projects on the internet were going to fail. The same way that maybe 2 or 3 out of the top 20 cryptocurrencies are simply not going to be here in 5 years' time. And you need to understand that. Having been the age I am, the old age that I am, you have to understand I have seen all of this stuff before, okay? I was there, very similar to the elf bloke in Lord of the Rings. I was there 4,000 years ago at the start of the internet. The majority of companies back then don't exist. The majority of cryptocurrency projects 6 years ago don't exist. You jump forward 4 or 5 years and the majority of everything outside of the top 20 will not exist. The majority will not exist. We can go back 3 years and look at NFT projects. They're dead. They've gone. They've finished. We can look at meme coins from way back in the day. They're all gone. We can look at those things and we can use that to predict the future. That's why I'm so adamant that you should seriously consider selling the majority of your cryptocurrencies at the end of this bull run, and then sit on your hands and wait and see what new emerging technology comes out, okay? It could be the last great bull run. It could be very much the last great bull run. But if we're talking about Bitcoin going from 150 to 500,000 in the next 4 years, then I don't think that is the end of the next. I don't think we are in the last big bull run. But lots of projects underneath are going to die. Now then, liquidation map. Don't use liquidation. Liquidation is bad. Bad liquidation. Every time you say, I'm going to go long or short in crypto, slap yourself in the face. Unless you're Kishan. Kishan always seems to pull the rabbit out the bag, go short, go long. But in general, if people were so good at leverage, why are there 1.4 billion in positions liquidated in the last 24 hours? If all of you degens out there were so good at crypto and so good at price targets, why do you all keep getting liquidated? 1.3, no, is that 1.3 billion in longs? Poof, gone. Okay, shorts, hardly any shorts, 100 million in shorts. Fantastic. 1.3 billion in longs, all dead, finished, kaput. Don't use leverage. If you know what you're doing, fine. If you don't, and you think it's really cool, on the exchange you're on now, they will have 3L, 3S, 5L, 5S tokens where you can play the game. You can play the long, you can 5L Bitcoin, you can 5S Bitcoin, whatever you think, but you're not likely to see you lose 100% and get liquidated and hit your liquidation point, okay? You might lose 50% of your money, you won't lose all of it. Liquidation heat map is not pretty. What do we expect when Bitcoin is below 90,000? It's a bloodbath. A bloodbath. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. Let us move on. Remember, if you are in chat and you are worried, say hello in chat. Lots of confluence for that level. Right, we are going to talk about, is this the Bitcoin chart? Have I brought the Bitcoin chart up early? I certainly have brought the Bitcoin chart up early. Okay. Right, let's go back out. Let's zoom out a little bit, first of all. Let's just show you where we are. This is the daily chart. Now, before I said to you that we can go up as fast as we can come down. Well, in chat, I believe that KB said 72,000. I have about 72.3. Now, if you go off what these TA people call the M pattern, that looks very much like the logo at the top of the letter-headed notepaper that I've got my application for McDonald's. And believe you me, I am absolutely not loving the idea of going to work at McDonald's. But I also said to you yesterday, as long as we don't lose this line, I am happy. Well, I am not sure if Bitcoin is forming its own arrow to the downside, but we've lost the level, which was for me about 89,000-ish. We've lost it. And we are likely to come very quickly down. Now, I mean, we're clutching at straws here. 76,000, we're clutching at straws. Now, there is another way of redrawing these fib levels, okay, which I haven't done because all of this has happened very, very quickly. But there is another way of drawing the fib levels, and there are other levels of support on those fib levels at about 84,000, okay? So I am not saying that we are going to do that today. What may happen is we come down to the 84 level where a lot of people are calling for it and we bounce. But the 89.5 level is the bull market support band. And in a good bull run, you should come back and test the bull market support band. And what you should do is you should use it as support. So what you do is you should be bouncing off it. Now, what we haven't done is bounce, okay? Because Big Dave, who weighs about 30 stone, Big Dave has tried to jump on our trampoline, and Big Dave has broken our trampoline. And all the 4 legs of our trampoline have gone. And Dave is hurtling towards the floor. And Big Dave is likely to break both of his legs. Now, it's not the end of the world if we bounce 84, 86, 87,000. But I am under no illusions that we're going to come down to the 70s. I think that we are going to go somewhere in there. That's worst case scenario. Okay, I should be very, very, very clear here about what I'm talking about. This is the worst case scenario for me. There are worse cases than that, of course. But what you got to remember is, if we start going into the 60s, that's going to take a long time to recover from. And that's going to mean that we're not going to go anywhere near 100,000 in the near future. And it could delay us by 6 months, 9 months, whatever it might be, and push us towards the end of the year. I still hold that we are not, if we lose this level, we are not seeing the end of the bear market. I've seen a load of people talk about this being the end of the bull run and putting us into a bear market. It's not there yet. We're at 87,000. We're clinging on. If you look there, that is where we've come down to. But it's not happened yet. And if it does happen, then we are seriously going to have to consider that the May all-time high for Bitcoin is now finally done. And then, if that happens, then we all know what I have been predicting for a long time. That is when I think the end of the bull run has always been and potentially will always be, which is November the 24th, which is a Monday, also happens to be my wife's birthday. So if you want to know why I always think it's going to be November, because it was my wife's birthday in the last bull run 4 years ago. There you go. That's how easy it is for me to remember, because I don't forget my wife's birthday. So I think we're going to go down there, worst case scenario. And if you look back, you will see that this was the level over here, in fact, where we had massive levels of support. But I want to draw your attention to that $49,000 wick, okay, which I think was this one, wasn't it? Yeah. This here was when everybody was telling me that crypto was finished. I'm sure the majority of you out there watching in August were in agreement, because I was saying it's not over and we are not finished. And we were in this channel coming down here like this. And if you remember what happened, that's really, really badly drawn. We were in that channel and then we put in that wick and we absolutely spanked the floor. And what did we do? We came straight back into the channel. We came straight back into the bull market support band, and then we went higher. Now, if that's the scenario that we have got right now, then yes, maybe we don't come all the way down to 72.3. Maybe we don't come down that far. But this wick is going to keep going down if the Americans wake up and they don't like the fact that their Big Mac is cold and their sugared water is freezer. Maybe we come down to here, but we come down in that range. Then we're going to spend a bit of time getting back up above the bull market support band. So it's not lost, but I have to prepare you for the worst. And yes, everything I'm saying can go out the window if the ETFs wake up this morning and start talking about, right, where was the line there? It's about 92, it's about there, I think. Okay, so that's the original channel that I had drawn, which we came into in November. Now, again, This has been caused by $1.3 billion of liquidations. We don't have to see this. Remember this? That came all the way down. We wicked down to 89.4, do you remember? And that was the end. So we've had, what, 40, 50, 60 death signals for Bitcoin. I'll go back and show you what I'm talking about. Okay? Do you know how many times I've been at this gravestone in the last 6 years? I have visited this gravestone 100 times. Okay? Good morning, only you. 81 will get tagged and would have to hold, otherwise 72. Yeah. Again, there's lots of things that we are. It has to get tagged, but there's not a lot. There's not a lot left holding us up. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Do you remember yesterday I was talking about the Wile E. Coyote? He goes shooting past Roadrunner, and he skids off the edge, and he's hanging on by one hand. That was what I said yesterday. If Roadrunner starts flicking our fingers, that's where we're going. Okay. Now, prepare for the worst. That's what I'm trying to show you right now. Prepare for the worst. That's the worst, in my opinion, is that area down there. KB says 81,000. I'm going to show you the only other little bit we've got, which is coming in there for me at 87. Okay? And we're not far away. Anything below that, and then I think we are cooked to the downside for a while. But again, we can easily bounce. And now is not the time to be too scared. What we are going to do, we're going to look at this article that said 84,000. We have completely messed up the stream by jumping straight into the chart. But I wanted to show you that. I actually wanted to show you Bitcoin dominance. Actually, before we go on to this, let me show you Bitcoin dominance. Because Bitcoin dominance is something else you need to understand. And that is that we are nowhere near seeing the end of Bitcoin dominance. Let me just bring this up for a second. Because this channel, which we've been showing you, is now showing almost 62%. So if we go back, just to show you what we're talking about, Bitcoin dominance is the percentage of the overall market held in Bitcoin. So for every $100 in crypto, $61.82 is in Bitcoin. That's why it matters. That is why your crap coin doesn't matter. Okay? Your crap coin can outperform everything, but it's still a fraction of the overall market cap. And we've been in this channel probably for nearly 2 years now, moving up. We did have our fake out here where we thought Bitcoin dominance was going to break out in December. We thought it was going to come to the downside. We thought, here we go, altcoins are absolutely rallying. We're all going to make a fortune. We're all going to go to the moon in Tariq's sealed space-ready Tesla. And then it didn't. And it came up and up and up. And we don't see any sign of stopping. 61.8%. It has been as high here as 64.5%. And if you listen to somebody like Ben Cowan, he is still thinking that we are going to go Bitcoin dominance wise. He thinks, oops, 1 second. This is Ben's target for Bitcoin dominance. Let me move that line. There we go. Right. That is Ben's target for Bitcoin dominance. That white line there. Now, just tell you about Ben. People have laughed at Ben pretty much for 2 years. They've laughed at him for 2 years. And for 2 years, he's been right. So I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to say a word because he's probably going to be right. And we could go to 66% dominance. If we go to 66% dominance, that means that all of the alts for a period of time are going to be wrecked. But it's a buying opportunity. And this time, you want to be buying the serious projects, the real world asset projects, the top layer ones, the top layer twos, the top projects in the markets that you know an awful lot about. Maybe you know about AI, maybe you know about Deepin, maybe you are really, really into, excuse me, NFTs or payment gateways, whatever it might be. That's the time to pick up these tokens now. Right then, why a $84,000 crash is likely? Scott Matheson. Now, normally we bash these individuals on here because they predict ridiculous price targets. Not anymore. Scott immediately has gone into the first position on the Crypto Warehouse solid advice charts, okay? And so far, there's only really about 3 people on that solid advice charts. There's him, there's maybe Ben Cowan, and then maybe one other. Maybe we put Dave the Wave on there. The rest of them are on the absolute garbage list, okay? Analysts are currently leaning towards a further breakdown in the Bitcoin price. Crypto Hamed, expert Hamed AZ on TradingView shared a bullish and bearish pullback outlook for the Bitcoin price. The analyst highlights that a crash of $85,000 is more likely. The Bitcoin price is set to decline further, possibly reaching 85, but the cryptocurrency continues to trade sideways, failing to break out of its consolidation zone, which it's been in for 3 months now. 3 months and 3 days, I think we're in. The cryptocurrency has failed to recover its position above 100,000, which we've talked about. He said the market will remain in a downtrend with no hint of an upward movement. If Bitcoin continues to trade below key resistance levels, sharing 2 possible scenarios for the trajectory. And there we have it. There is his chart. And again, you have the area where he thinks we're going to move into. We're actually going to open that in a new image or in a new tab so we can see it. And then we move over here. There we go. So he has got this $85,000 range, which would take us to the bottom of his range and then bounce straight back up. I'm not sure on the validity of his surge back towards 106,000, however. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be wrong, because clearly he's pointed to the $84,000 downside. Right, let's make that a bit smaller again now. So 85 and 87. Bitcoin is historically known for not staying in a downtrend for too long. Again, Bitcoin doesn't need a reason to go up. It just needs a reason to go down. I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why potentially we've seen this. But the number one is always going to be greed. The longs got flushed. Again, the longs got flushed. Market makers, manipulators, whatever you want to call them, they look for the liquidity. If they go below 90,000, they were going to get X. If they went below 88,000, they were going to get Y. If you stack your cards in a certain way, they know where you are. It's human nature. They're going to come and take your candy off you. That's the biggest one, which is greed. If we didn't have leverage, or we didn't allow the levels of leverage that we've got, then potentially we might not see the amount of cascading liquidations that we're seeing that's pushing the price down. So on the prediction, a bounce from this support would invalidate further bearish momentum. Additionally, the support zone serves as a critical demand area where they step in. Again, 100,000, 90,000, 80,000, 70,000, 60,000, they are psychological levels of support. We couldn't get back above 100,000. We were stuck at 98 and 99,000. We wicked down to 90,000. That's what we did a few weeks ago. That's now given way, and we are now below 90,000. 80,000 is a psychological level, and sitting above that, there will be a buying opportunity. I've not brought up the volume profiles, but there is a significant amount there. But if 80,000 goes, we're straight back down to 72,000, 74,000, around that range, which is just above the 70,000 range. And there's lots of support down there as well. So again, we didn't break up, and we've now broken down. He expects Bitcoin, however, to rise as high as 120,000, surpassing previous all-time highs. So again, the long and short of this is, and by the way, Scott Matheson, you're spot on with this article, my friend. You are spot on with this article. That's all I'll say. Right then, let's see. let's move on a little bit. Let's see where we are. So, Saylor. Last week, the SEC started to bring in various... What is going on with this? Let me just change this around a little bit. Last week, Michael Saylor was invited in. I think it was last Friday. He was invited in by the SEC to have a meeting with them about Bitcoin and crypto. They didn't just invite Michael Saylor in on Friday. They've been inviting people in for the last 2 weeks. They have been coming in and talking to the SEC and giving their feedback on how basically to regulate the market, what Saylor thinks about the market. And the reason it's a good thing is that they get feedback from the industry. The reason it's a bad thing is when you might have the likes of XRP and Brad Garlinghouse bending the ear of the president. And when you have that, you then have the problem of the president wanting the SEC to do one thing and the SEC having a more balanced approach and wanting to do something for the better good of the industry. Because let's not forget, Sam Bankman-Fried was a hero. He was the darling of crypto. And behind everybody's backs, he was trying to come to a deal with Gary Gensler and Joe Biden's team to ring-fence crypto in America. And the people involved with that were a blue American exchange, BlackRock, and Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Okay? But he was a hero at the time. And your heroes quickly become villains. And that's what you've got to be careful about with everybody in life, okay? They build you up to knock you down. The higher they build you, the further you will fall. And Michael Saylor, much as I love the guy, and much as I think he's a positive for crypto, there are other people that have gone before him that were positives for crypto that ended up being not so good. So we need to avoid a one-man crusade. We need to avoid Brad Garlinghouse and his voice being too high. We need to avoid Charles Hoskinson's voice being too loud, Michael Saylor's. It doesn't matter who they are or what their intentions are. Unless they are the reincarnation of our Lord, they should not be listened to because they are false idols and they are fallible and they only have their best interests at heart. And that is the problem. So although I love Michael Saylor, I think it's great that he goes in and he talks to the SEC. I'm not a massive fan of him being the voice of Bitcoin because he doesn't care about any other crypto. He cares about Bitcoin. He doesn't care about Ethereum or Solana. He doesn't care about Cardano. There's only one true crypto, and that's Bitcoin. And that's a dangerous position to be in. So I fully commend the SEC for bringing everybody in. Okay, H-Bar's been in there. I think the Winklevoss brothers have been in there. A few other people have been in there from a different range. And Hester Peirce is no fool. She knows exactly what they're doing. And much as we didn't like Gary Gensler, he had a political remit to what he was doing. That's now gone. And the remit of the SEC is to drive adoption of crypto. But driving adoption of crypto is a bigger sentence than driving the adoption of Bitcoin. And that's what we have to be aware of, that we don't want a XRP heavy legislation. Alternatively, if you look at it from the other point of view, we want a Bitcoin strategic reserve because it's the only true crypto. We don't want a Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano strategic reserve because they are not, at the end of the day, they're not the one true cryptocurrency. So you need a balance and everybody's voice needs to be heard, but it has to be done in the right way. The Nasdaq files to list Canary H-Bar ETF. Excuse me. This was mentioned very briefly in the intro. There is more news on this to come out. Also, the Cardano ETF is going to be announced. Again, going back to my tweet, you are being told by the powers that be. You are being told by Nasdaq and BlackRock and ARK Invest and everybody else you can think of. You're being told what they see as big boy projects. Okay? You're being told by them in advance what are the big boy projects. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Litecoin, Cardano, HBAR. There's 6. They're telling you that these are going to be cryptocurrencies that they believe in so much that they are going to create a financial product around them. It's not like crypto, where tomorrow Ethereum could come out with a new layer 2 and give away the tokens to Ethereum holders. And at a drop of a hat, you've got $2,000 in a new coin. They're not like pudgy penguins that announce a coin on Solana and then 2 weeks later, you're $1,000 richer. These things take 6 months minimum to get out the door. And your job is to listen to them. Go and look at Grayscale as another example. Go and look at Grayscale's website. And I think they're now starting to go a little bit too far, if honest. But they've probably got 15 to 20 cryptocurrencies on there that their analysts have looked at and seen them to have long-term value. The Chainlinks of the world, the Solanas of the world, the XRPs of the world. If you're building a portfolio, if you're 20 years of age watching this now, you shouldn't be thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or the week after or the week after. You should think to yourself, how do I retire at 30? How do I retire at 40? How do I buy my house? You buy the projects that the ETFs are going to be listed for. That would be a really, really simple way of building a portfolio. The other really simple way is to get the 20,022 coins. They are the coins which have got the banking ISO requirement. So the XDCs, the XRPs, I think Cardano's got it as well, probably HBAR and Algorand and coins like that, and loads of other Stellar as well. That would be another bag of crypto that you could go and buy. But there are pre-made groups of cryptocurrencies that you can go and buy that don't need me or another shillfluencer to try and flog you down the road. That's why it's important to understand what you're being told. You're being told that HBAR is being accepted by the industry as a valid cryptocurrency. It is like a stamp of approval. It is like a graduation, okay? Bitcoin has been through it and Ethereum has been through it, obviously. And XRP and Solana are obviously going to come out the other end. So no matter what people say to you about Solana, about it being a meme culture, about it being full of degens, I don't care. The tech behind it and the adoption behind it is all these people care about. And do they get every ETF right? Absolutely not. ETFs can be delisted as fast, if not faster, than they can be approved. So what I'm saying is, if you follow the ETF narrative and you end up with 15 or 10 or 5 cryptocurrencies that have an ETF, 90% of them are going to be successful. You cannot say that about any other area of crypto right now. Now then, funnily enough, because that was a nice little segue, yeah, Sailor is, I think he's, you can't say the word cultish because it sounds too much like something else where I'm from. But he's very cultish. You know, people walking around in Sailor t-shirts with laser eyes. Nobody should be given that level of adoration. Okay. XDC, which I never talk about. Never talk about XDC. And believe it or not, it's the only coin I get DM'd about. I never get DM'd about Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or anything. I always get DM'd, especially on Twitter, about XDC. It's weird. And they're not XDC people that are DMing me. They are Joe Blogs in the street. The people in the street that are buying cryptocurrency always message me about XDC. Where can I buy it? What exchange is it on? Where is it listed? And I've never looked into it. I know what it does, but I've never done a review video on it. I've never covered it. I've always seen it as having a similarity to XRP as a kind of payments solution. Well, anyway, they've got a partnership with Archax for 4 tokenized funds. XDC and Archax are tapping into institutional appetite for more efficient investment avenues. This move reflects a broader industry shift. There we go. Won't need to read any more of that. Sorry. XDC have launched 4 tokenized versions of 4 money market funds managed by Fidelity, you'll have heard of, BlackRock, you'll have heard of it, and State Street, you'll have heard of. The initiative offers institutional investors secure and compliant access to quality yield-generating assets. Secure and compliant. Now, we're going to talk in a minute about Maple Finance. And all of this is the key sentence, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. And we're probably going to really overrun. So I might not do... we'll do the show. We've got 5 minutes. Blockchain firm XDC announced on Monday that it had launched its first tokenized funds through Archax. So again, why is this important? Because institutional adoption is the next step. It's the next leg. I know you don't like men in suits. I know you don't like Larry Fink. I know you don't like balding men in glasses. But you're listening to one now, okay? And I don't have the suit on, but I am telling you, as day follows night, we are going to see mass adoption of tokenization in crypto. It's the number one narrative. The number one narrative in the real world, outside of this bubble that everybody lives in crypto. It's bringing assets online because it reduces friction. You go to a bank in America and you want to invest in stocks. You've got to be a sophisticated investor. That means you need $1 million or $2 million in liquid assets. You've got to fill out a form. You've got to have your, pass all of this nonsense, right? As well as KYC. Now, that's all friction. And the reason the minimum investment is, let's say, $250,000 is all the paperwork and all the effort that goes into that. What this is doing is it is bringing all of those things online, and it's tokenizing them, which removes an awful lot of the friction, which means these companies don't set the investment at $250,000 because they don't like you. They do it because there is effort versus reward. If they let you in, and let's say you put $10,000 in at 5%, and let's say they're making 10% on you. So you put your $10,000 in, and at the end of year one, you have $10,500, and they take $50. What is the point of making $50 a year off you? There is none. Zero. Okay? Now, if you have, I don't know, $500,000 and you're making 5%, that's $25,000 profit. They make 10% of that. They make $2,500 out of that person. Now you work out how many 50s are in 2,500, and then how many extra phone calls they're going to get from people like you saying you want your money back. And then you understand why they put the threshold in. That's what they're trying to do, is bring it all online and give you access to these products without it costing them an absolute fortune in telephone staff, email inquiries, whatever, because they're going to tokenize it, bring it online, still going to be KYC, there's still going to be a lot behind that. So when you're looking at institutional investors coming online, it's not going to be a bad thing. It's actually going to be a good thing for individuals like you and I. Okay, it's a good thing. Now, you may have noticed on the left-hand side of the screen that we have, good morning, Bullish Bull. You will see on the left-hand side an icon, and that icon is the Maple logo, because we are partnered with Maple Finance, the same way that we are partnered with Mew, and we're also partnered with WolfSwap, and a few other people that we don't mention because we do stuff for them on their channels. So we make videos for other people as well. Maple Finance is not something which is for now, in my opinion. It's not for right this second, okay? I've talked to you before about what happens when you take your money out of crypto. What happens when you sell the top? What happens when you sell your Ethereum and your other products? You need somewhere to put it. And in the past, I have mentioned Ondo, which pays you 4.5% to 5% on your stables, especially through USDY. Again, just because we're partnered with Maple does not mean I am not going to recommend other people either. That's not the point of what we're doing. We're trying to find financial products that you can use at the end of the bull run to make a yield that you can hold potentially for the next 2 years. So this is the next play. So it's hard to hear right now when we're at 86, 87, 88,000, but when we're at $150,000, $180,000 and you cash out and you've got $300,000, $400,000, $200,000 in stables, where do you make a yield on it? You can make it off the exchange you're in now, absolutely. Of course you can, because they offer in some places 8, 10, 15, 6%, whatever it might be. But then there is Maple, okay? Now, this is what is important to understand, and this is why we've partnered with them, principal protected. What does that mean is your investment is safe, as in it's not going to do a Celsius. It's not going to do a, what's the one called? A Luna, okay? It's protected. So if the price goes through the floor, you make 4%. If the price goes up, you get up to whatever you can earn on. Now, what I'm going to do over the next probably month or so is I'm going to make a video explaining this. I'm going to explain why it's not a bad idea. And again, I think I mentioned to you a couple of months ago that you need to go and join Ondo and do their KYC, because they are big boy pants people. Maple is the same. You need to do KYC. They need to know who you are and what you're doing. There is a token associated with Maple, which we'll look at in a second. But just so you know, there is going to be 3 or 4 different places in 6 to 12 months' time where you can put your money and earn a yield in the future after Bitcoin starts to retrace and the alt starts to retrace, okay? That's what we're setting you up for. We're setting you up to put your money somewhere safe for about 2 years until the next bull run. And this is one of them. And by the way, one thing that I need to mention on here, they have over $600 million total value locked. So I'm not talking to you about Dave Smith, who's down the high street that's got 100 grand in his bank account that's trying to sell it you for 6% APR. They've got probably this year a $1 to $2 billion TVL on the cards, because there are things that I can't tell you about this project that are going to make this project have a higher TVL and the token go up in value, and I can't tell you. And I hate it when people do that, because you watch these streamers and they say, I know a Mr. X, or I know something you don't know, and you need to buy it, and trust me, bro. I hate that. I get that. But I'm not allowed to tell you. It's not that I don't want to tell you. I can't tell you. All I will say is this coin has shot down. Right, let me bring that down a bit. There we go. This coin has come down. It's now 11.8 cents. It's peanuts. It's called Syrup. Syrup is the name of the token. It is on all good exchanges. It's not something that doesn't exist. You've got to go and buy it through a dodgy DEX. It's on some of the major exchanges. It's on the one you're on now. You can go and buy Maple. So you can go buy Syrup. And you can stake it if you wish and earn about 5%. But I've done my due diligence on these people, believe it or not. And this is the area to buy. Okay? Anywhere above or anywhere from about 10 cents and up is the place to buy. And when it breaks 15 cents, 18 cents, then I would look to consolidate buying it. So dollar cost averaging now, and then when we start to get towards 18 and 20 cents, wait for the news to come out. The news will be out in about 5 weeks, I think 5 weeks. So I'm telling you now, I'm going to make a video about them. I wanted to include them on the stream today because I want to introduce you to our next partner. So it has a token called Syrup. It's on exchanges. I like the product. I'm going to make a video about it to explain it to you. And one of the most important things to understand is that had they been one of the other people that have contacted us in the past, we would never have partnered with them. And as you know, we turn down about 95% of people that approach us, which is why we are poor. Okay? It would be easy for me to tweet every day and make $100 a day from tweeting. Just one tweet. Okay? 2 or 3 times a day I could tweet and make $100 out of that. Where is the loyalty would be my question. So I don't. And we turn down the majority of people who approach us for videos simply because I don't like them. If I like a project and I like what they're doing, I'll make a video about them. If I don't, we don't. But also, if they don't have a license and they claim to be a financial product, we also won't cover them either. Now then, 5 leaders embroiled in meme coin scandals since Trump. This is the last article. And this ties in, by the way, let me just explain for you that maybe just arrived. So this is the RIP. This is the RIP. We'll forget the RIP for a second. I just want to remind you of one thing because it's starting to come out. Okay? And that is, where is it gone? Where is it gone? Now, I know the majority of you have heard me time and time again say, do not buy meme coins. Or not meme coins, that's not true. Pump and dumps. Okay, that's a little bit big for the screen. So I'm going to make that a bit smaller. There we go. It now kind of fits. There we go. We'll just put it like that. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this gentleman here, this is Kanye West, except it's not Kanye West because he's changed his name to Ye. And Ye is going to launch a token. And you are not going to buy it. You are not going to buy this token. You are going to go and look in the mirror after this stream and say, I will not buy this token. Okay? It's trash. It's a pump and dump. I don't care what price it goes to. I don't care if it goes up 1,100%. It's going to come down. It has no value. It has no meaning. It has no community. It has no roadmap. And he's going to keep 70% of the supply. And where have we heard that before? We've heard that here. We've heard it with Trump. And we've heard it with Melania, who both own 80% of the supply. Trump and his team have screwed you. Melee and Libra has screwed you. The Central African Republic token, launched on February the 10th, that the majority of you have forgotten about, also screwed you. Fostin, Archange, Tudera, okay? It screwed you over. And there he is. Look at him. Buy my token. I am an honest man. I have a lovely suit and a great tie, and it's really sunny where we are. Hallelujah. Okay? Don't buy this crap. Libra, Melee, the bloke from Africa, Trump, and Melania. They all absolutely stink. Absolutely stink. Okay? Now, Melania isn't a world leader. We'll forget that one for now. But the rest of them are. And the rest of them should be hanging their heads in shame because they have absolutely screwed you. Now then, that is 12:04. It is the end of the stream. Thank you, everybody. Apparently, the Oracle said we were coming down last night. So the Oracle gets kudos for predicting the slide. What are we coming in at now? 80. You have to wait for it to refresh these days. We could have absolutely pummeled the downside. 88,000 roughly on the nose. Don't worry. If you're new here, follow us. We will make you feel better. It's not over. The bull run isn't over. It's $1.3 billion of longs being liquidated. There's probably going to be more pain this evening. So by Friday, we should start to see some level of recovery. Because when we go down hard for maybe 2 days. And today is only Tuesday. So today and tomorrow, we might go down. Or today we might go down and we might start to recover tomorrow. But we will recover. The storm will pass. Okay? It is always darkest. It is always darkest before dawn. That's the one. So take care. Bullish Bull, Kishan, KB, Tariq is here. Only you is here. Take care, everybody. See you in the morning.